Welcome to our video on the eye and retina, where we will be looking at key structures, accommodation of the eye to different images and different light intensities, as well as the retina. To start with, we will look at the basic structures of the eye. The fibrous coat called the sclera provides protection and form. The iris controls the diameter of the pupil and therefore helps to control the amount of light reaching the retina, where electrical signals are sent to the brain via the optic nerve. As we look further into the eye, we can see the lens, located directly behind the iris, where it acts to focus light onto the retina. The cornea is found in front of the iris and also aids in transmitting light onto the retina. The choroid provides nourishment for the retina, and the macula lies at its centre. Nutrients to the cornea and lens are supplied by a fluid called the aqueous humour. Another key fluid structure is the vitreous humour. It is a transparent fluid that fills the space between the lens and the retina, maintaining pressure to give the eye its unique oval shape. The pupillary light reflex involves adjustments in pupil size with changes in light levels. In lower light levels, the pupil expands to let more light into the eye, whereas in brighter light, it constricts. This process gives protection to the photoreceptors against bright light. There are two types of smooth muscle that control this process, both of which are innervated by the autonomic nervous system. The outer radial muscle is controlled by the sympathetic nervous system, and its contraction results in the dilation of the pupil. The peripheral nervous system innervates the smooth circular muscle and acts antagonistically to the radial muscle, so when one contracts, the other relaxes. Both muscles act to control the amount of light entering the eye. As you can see here, there is also a constriction of the right pupil when light is shone into the left. This is known as a consensual response. The cornea and the lens are denser than air. Therefore, when light reaches these structures, it is slowed down. This is known as refraction. As well as this, degree of refraction is dependent on the angle at which light hits the cornea. When we view objects at a distance, as shown here, the cornea is capable of refracting light rays onto the retina without aid of the lens. However, for images that are roughly within 7 meters of the eye, assistance is needed from the lens, and more specifically, the ciliary muscles. These fatten the lens by contracting, which subsequently stretches the zonal fibres and the choroid. Emmetropia refers to an eye with no visual defects, needing no vision correction, as light rays converge to perfectly focus on the retina. Myopia, or short-sightedness, results in the inability for an individual to see objects far away. This occurs when the eye is slightly longer than normal, meaning light rays crossed before reaching the retina due to excess refraction. This can be corrected by wearing a concave lens, forcing the light to diverge more before hitting the cornea, increasing the degree of refraction and therefore focusing the image. Hyperopia, more commonly known as long-sightedness, produces the opposite effect, resulting in objects focusing behind the retina. To correct this, a convex lens is worn to increase refraction before light hits the cornea. There are two types of photoreceptors in the retina: cones and rods. Their role is to convert light into electrical signals. Rods are responsible for vision at low light levels and do not mediate colour vision, whilst cones are responsible for colour and resolution recognition, meaning cones sacrifice sensitivity and are bad at seeing in low light levels. A special feature of rods and cones is the invagination of the outer membrane. In these folds lie photopigments, which are molecules that absorb photons. In rods, invaginations have formed free-floating discs containing the photopigments, giving a greater area for photopigment storage. Each disc has a higher concentration of photopigment, making rods 1,000 times more sensitive to light at low resolution. Photons must pass through ganglion cells and bipolar cells before reaching the photoreceptors, where photons are transformed to electrical impulses. In the retina, there are 3 layers of neurons transmitting electrical stimuli from photoreceptors to the brain. Bipolar cells pass signals from photoreceptors to the retinal ganglion cells that help compose the optic nerve. This is done either directly or indirectly via amacrine cells found in the inner plexiform layer, which, with the outer plexiform layer, make up 2 layers of synaptic connection in the retina. Amacrine cells act as interneurons, relaying signals between bipolar cells, retinal ganglion cells, and other amacrine cells. Horizontal cells are key for regulation, receiving input from many photoreceptors and adjusting these inputs to then pass information on. They receive excitatory input from cones and give inhibitory feedback in return. It should be noted that the system is a lot more complicated than this, and that images and descriptions given are simplified to give a basic overview of the retina. This has been a whistle-stop tour of the eye. Thanks for watching.